the subject of Noah and the flood is I want to bring up why it's important to this discussion of whether you believe young earth, old earth viewpoint. Can you hold to the flood being a local flood and be young earth, or is it only possible to hold the young earth view and hold to a global flood? Jason?
Well, it goes back to starting points. I mean, I would say I start from biblical authority. I try to read the text within the best of my ability. I try to read the text for what it says. And I would conclude just from reading the text that the flood was in fact a global flood. It covers all the high hills under the whole heavens. God has Noah build this enormous ark capable of supporting 2 of every kind of animal that God made to preserve their kinds, because the flood was going to wipe the rest of them out. If it was just a local flood, why wouldn't they just move, right? I mean, it would make a lot more sense, be a lot easier than building an ark. So I would say, just if you read the Scriptures at face value, you would come to the conclusion that it's a global flood. And I would also say that about the young universe. So I'd say the two go together, but they're both connected by biblical authority. If we start from biblical authority, we end up with a young universe and a global flood.
Hugh, was the flood universal but not global, or was it global and universal?
Yeah, I hold the point of view that it was universal, wiped out all of humanity except for Noah and his family, and wiped out all the nephesh creatures, the soulish creatures associated with humanity, except for those on board the ark. And again, I would start from the Bible. I find 5 different places in the Bible that tells me, in the context of what we see happening on Creation Day 3, when God is forming these continental land masses for the first time, just like it says in Psalm 104. Once God has established these continental land masses, you set a boundary they cannot cross, never again will they cover the earth. That would rule out the possibility of a global flood on biblical grounds. And this isn't the only place in the Bible. All the creation accounts that reflect on Genesis chapter 1, Psalm 104, Job 38, and Proverbs 8 also tell us about how God has set limits for the ocean. As we see here, this can't
answer that? Just before I go, answer the question. If you hold to the universe being old, can you hold to a local flood, or must it be a global flood?
Well, I know a geologist in Alberta, Canada, who is staunchly old earth in his interpretation of the Bible, and yet he believes in a global flood. He's not the only one I know of, but it is rare. Most people who believe in interpreting these days as longer than 24 hours would also take the point of view that it's a flood that wipes out all of humanity, but not necessarily